Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And to say is, first I want to say Happy Eclipse Day. Because today is Monday, August 21st, 2017, which is of course the day we had the big eclipse in the United States. Of course, the eclipse is now officially over, at least in the United States. So, but getting to the subject at hand, instead of doing a regular review, I wanted to discuss, do a tribute video to the late great comedian Jerry Lewis, who died just yesterday, Sunday, August 20th, 2017, at the age of 91. Of course, if you notice, if you watch any of my videos, I don't do that much Jerry Lewis movies because I haven't really seen all that many. And I saw like bits and pieces of some of these movies they did with Demon. So I haven't really, seen any of his movies all that much. Because it's very rarely that they were on television somewhere. Well, the last few years on Labor Day they happen. And that's one of the things, of course, that Jerry Lewis is famous for, is, of course, during the telethons. Now, previously, you've done a video blasting the MDA. Actually, technically, they actually fired Jerry Lewis from the telethons. Which, please check out my video on the MDA commentary video, and I explain pretty much the whole thing. Which is one fact they have not mentioned in any of the tribute videos, on news stories, on the local news or the world news. They haven't really discussed the fact that he was actually fired from the MDA as the host. He didn't leave willingly, and he very talked about in the last 5-6 years since he was fired, about, well, and of course he actually destroyed the MDA. Really, I mean, back in the 50s, he was talking about the MDA, and 1966 is when pretty much after this whole hype with the Moore and Lewis run had ended 10 years earlier in 1956, because Dee Moore was getting tired of being a straight man to Jerry Lewis. That's pretty much why they quit. And because I think it was a lot of resentment. I think because Jerry Lewis was getting all the laughs that he wasn't in those comedy films, and so it was really Dee Moore, and actually they broke up the whole act. And then for 20 years they didn't really speak to each other for like 20 years. And then on one of Jerry Lewis telethons, I think it was like 76 or 77, Frank Sinatra was on there. He performed. And he says to Jerry, "Hey, I got somebody who wants to meet you." And he said, and it was actually Frank Sinatra that set the whole thing up, because Dee Moore was hanging around with Frank Sinatra a lot, with the Rat Pack years back in the 60s. So he decided to, after all those years of hatred, 20 years of hatred towards each other, Sinatra decided to end this little war between the two of them, and they reconciled on the telethon. It became a big moment on all those years with the telethon. I think over almost 50 years, over 50 years with the telethon. I think it was like 45 years. I think it was with the telethons, and then after 2011, the 2011 telethon, when in 2012, Jerry Lewis wanted to stop doing hosting after that year. So the MDA suggested, hey, why don't we do it like a 6-hour, instead of doing a 22-hour telethon, because the ratings have been steadily dropping over the years. For about like 20 years, the ratings are dropping. And because a lot of the acts that used to appear on the telethons were dying. Like Sammy Davis Jr. died, and of course eventually Ed McMahon died. So because of those two personalities, and Frankie Avalon and Casey Kasem, he had his health problems, and he eventually passed away as well. So all the people who were involved with Jerry Lewis were, of course, getting older and passing away. So people stopped watching him. And the other thing that killed the MDA was, of course, the internet, or the telethons, you should say. was the internet, because people used to wait for Labor Day to see it and and uh, and donate money. But now, because of the internet, the NBA has their own website where you can donate money anytime. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can donate money to MDA. You don't have to wait to see Jerry Lewis on television on Labor Day weekend to donate money. So because of that, the main stuff dropped a lot. The stations began to stop doing the telethon and stuff like that. Stop becoming affiliates for the broadcasting it. And so what happened was they decided to ask Jerry to cut down to 6 hours and put it on primetime television. Jerry says, no, I want to have the regular telethon and that's it. So what the NBA did was get rid of Jerry Lewis. And they did have a protest, like in 2012, they actually had a protest over it, of all the people who supported Jerry, the NBA over these years, for 40 years, and appeared with Jerry Lewis, and they didn't think it was right, and they kicked him out like that. So none of those acts that appeared with Jerry Lewis for years and years and years, they just stopped. And I really like to hear some of those people who, like Tony Orlando or Norm Crosby, who are still alive, who I'd like to see what their reaction is with Jerry passing. And fortunately, at the time of doing this video, I haven't heard anything from those guys. But the sad part is that thing wasn't really resolved. I mean, they had like a lame ass thing for like 1 year. They did it live in 2012, the first year after when they get rid of Jerry, and they had this big tribute to Jerry. The next year they did like a taped for a couple of hours, and 2 years in a row. I think they did one for like 5 or 6 hours taped. 1 year was live. Next year was taped, almost the same amount of time. And in 2014 and 2015, they did like a taped 3-hour concert on television on ABC, actually, not on syndication. And they did modern acts. I mean, they brought in younger performers. Figure, get viewers. We're having younger people in there, and that didn't work for 2 years. And then they eventually got last year in 2016 they ended it. And of course, we're not going to have the telethons anymore. We're not going to have because of course, unfortunately now it's going to be the first Labor Day without Jerry Lewis. First Labor Day in like 90 years without Jerry, and it's really well, Labor Day is always a sad weekend anyway because of the end of the summer. Some kids are already back to school already now, as they doing this video. But without Jerry being on Labor Day, it's really sad. It's sad thing. It was sad for the last 5 years. Now it's really going to be sad. Now it's really going to hit me because we're always looking forward to seeing Jerry Lewis on television, and now he's not no longer with us anymore. That's the one fact that in all the news stories they left out was that the NBA actually fired Jerry Lewis. He didn't. They said, "Oh, he left after 2011." Or 20. Some people said 2010. Some people said 2011. It's bullshit. The NBA actually fired him because he didn't want to do a 6-hour telethon to be his last hosting gig. He wanted to do the full 22 hours, and the NBA says, "Fuck you, you out." No matter how much money they raised for us, you raised for us, you out. And of course, there's the other controversy that they brought up with the MDAs, because people used to pledge over 50 with corporations and with average snooks like me donating money to the MDA that I want to combine total over 54 million or 56 million every year. And what happened was people complained and say, hey, how much of that money actually goes to the kids? True, it's great. They raised $54 million for Jerry's kids. How much of that $54 million actually goes to them? You'd be lucky to get maybe $10 million of that to the kids. Maybe. Every year. So that's one that stinks. Another people said, another group that formed the Jerry's Orphans, and because they felt they got hosed by the MDA and by Jerry Lewis, they felt they got hosed. because of that, because of all the money raised goes to the kids. So all that stuff, people want to be when somebody dies, that no matter how famous they are, they always want to be look at the positive. I look at everything, but all that stuff is kind of silly now. If you think about it, okay, now that the person is dead, it doesn't really matter anymore. But the MDA should be raked across the coals now, because if it wasn't for Jerry Lewis, the MDA wouldn't even exist today. They wouldn't even make it to the first. They didn't even have a telethon if it wasn't for Jerry Lewis's celebrity power, because he was really the celebrity who initiated awareness for MDA, for muscular dystrophy. I mean, he was. If you think of muscular dystrophy, you think of Jerry Lewis. And even though his movies naturally becomes an actual joke, really, because he's more famous or more popular in France for some reason than he is in the United States. But he should have been more popular. He should have been more respected. I don't say more loved, but I say more respected in the United States. But people used to make jokes about it, for 30 or 40 years, just to make jokes that he was bigger in France than he is in the United States. Same thing with David Hasselhoff. It's going through the same thing. He's bigger in Germany than he is in the United States. I mean, it's going through this almost exactly the same. And if you think of David Hasselhoff, you think he's a joke running in slow motion, a Baywatch, or talking to his watch, a Knight Rider. But he's also an actual joke. People say, oh, he's more popular in Germany than he is in the United States. But Jerry Lewis should have been, not because he's dead, now he's gaining respect that he should have gone 50, 60 years ago when he was part of the Martin Lewis. He should have got more respect over the years. He got blasted because he always made comments about female comedians. Because you look at Jerry Lewis telethon, very rarely, if that, he would have a woman comedian. Then he said, oh, they were trying to act more like men. That was a comment that he made. But regardless, Jerry, God bless you, Jerry. You brought a lot of great memories to a lot of people from your movies, from your comedy, and of course for your hard work in the telethons for 45 years. And that's what you should be remembered for, one of the positive stuff. But you can't ignore the negative stuff. The same thing with Michael Jackson. You can't ignore the fact that he was accused twice of molesting kids. That's Michael Jackson, that is, not Jerry Lewis. But you can't ignore the negative stuff. You can't gloss over that. But Jerry Lewis, he busted his ass for the MDA, and the MDA treated him like a piece of garbage. So that made me tribute video to Jerry Lewis. Like I said, God bless you, Jerry Lewis. May you rest in peace. Finally, after all the injuries, and he had major back problems because of all his pratfalls and stuff. Now you could hopefully rest in peace, Jerry. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.